Next on the show, we have Rob Gutro. Rob is an author, a paranormal investigator, and a medium with inspired ghost tracking of Maryland. Since he was a teen, he could receive messages. And we're going to talk to him right now. Conversations with indie authors. Hello.
Brittany, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, wow. Are those all your books behind you?
They are. Well, not all.
Nice. Not all of them, but yeah, because I was just looking at all. You have quite a lot. You have a whole pet series, and then just a, I don't know, regular ghost series. Is that
Yeah, there are two ghost series. One is Ghosts on a Medium's Vacation, and the other one is
vacation?
Ghosts and Spirits, which are those are crossed over or those that are earthbound.
I want to. You've written a lot of books at this point. Like I didn't even count how many, but you have a stack of books, and you have them in series. So there's a lot to say about all these topics.
There's 10, and I'm working on number 11 right now for later this year.
Okay, okay. But what you've known since you were a child that so you don't call yourself a psychic, you call yourself a medium. Can you explain what the difference is?
Sure. And this is my opinion, but um, to me, a medium is one that can connect to the energies of the living and the dead, those who have passed over. And a psychic is someone who can connect to energies of the past, present, and future so that they can tell you what you did, tell you what you're doing, and recommend what you should or shouldn't do in the future.
Okay, so you're just talking directly. And is it always someone that has passed on? Because other timelines, does that make sense?
Yes.
Other timelines that are happening at the same time. So can you converse with just like maybe a different version of you or a different version of someone else? Is that possible too?
Uh, excuse me. No, that hasn't been my experience. So I liken that to the multiverse. I'm a big comic book fan, so DC Comics had the multiverse. No, I can't converse with another one of my own selves. That would be interesting.
And do you see um pets or deceased loved ones or people all the time, or can you call them to you, or does it just pop up, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So uh, there are two answers to that question. One is that if I'm on a paranormal investigation as a medium, with the paranormal team that I'm on, I may encounter a ghost if there is one. And usually I don't see them visibly, I see them in my mind.
Okay.
And actually, I see them so well that I actually sketch them out and I show them to the homeowner. And the homeowners have, so far, everybody has agreed that these are the people that they see walking around their house. So that's pretty cool. um, in terms of spirits, spirits are the ones that I consider who have crossed over. I can call them and that's how I do pet readings. So I do pet readings on the side too. And all I need is a picture of them and the pet's name, and I'm able to connect with them usually.
Okay, so then my question is, can you see anything around me? Or does it work through lenses?
It can work through lenses too. Right now I don't because I'm actually concentrating on talking to you. So, but I get, I used to work in radio part-time, so I got used to blocking noise out that I'm not supposed to be focused on. So that's what I do when I'm speaking to somebody. I usually block out everything else.
Okay. Okay, so you can't read the people around. I don't even know if I have anyone.
I'll let you know as we go along.
If someone pops up, hey, I don't know. I would be curious seeing things like as a kid, and then now I'm like, well, was it my overactive imagination or what have you? So I don't
So
know.
and I can address a bunch of those things and through
Okay.
my experience. So I know that when we're children, we have not yet been taught to think logically. So we are more open to receiving messages from spirits or earthbound ghosts. So often when we aren't kids, we do see those things. And then as we grow older, we look back and we say, oh, I was just that was my imagination. So we dismiss them. Um, so there's that. I mean, I saw my grandfather in full color when I was 13, and I couldn't dismiss that because he scared me. So um, the other thing too is that I think that I'm with you too on the other side and the perception of God or whatever. I grew up as a Catholic, now an ex-Catholic, and I grew from that. I mean, it was good as a base to learn how to treat each other, but then you grow from it. And in my experience talking to spirit, basically the other side is really energy. It's all positive emotional energy, love and peace and forgiveness and acceptance. And that's what it is. So people can call that God if they wish, um,
Mhm.
or the great energy, or whatever you want.
Okay, well then there's a question because everything in there's balance
Mhm,
in life. And so when there is a dark, there is a light. So if there is this place that is, as you're saying, like good energy, wouldn't there have to be a place that there's the negative?
mhm. That's called Earth.
That's what I've been telling people for so many years. I'm like, hell is here. That's where
Mhm.
we are. When you're not here, then you have been removed from hell.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's what I get when I talk to Earthbound ghosts, because people who decide to stay earthbound as a ghost, and ghosts are earthbound, spirits have crossed over. It, that's the way I define them.
Mhm.
If you think about it, they chose a life of isolation in the afterlife, a life where only if they're lucky, someone who's sensitive, like a medium, will be able to communicate with them. Earthbound ghosts have not been able to communicate with spirits on the other side. They remain trapped until living people can detect them and raise enough emotional energy to open the portal to the other side and help them cross over. And that's what I do as a paranormal investigator.
Okay.
So
So
it's like
your
being in an
job,
isolation prison cell, if you will.
okay. But so if they're earthbound, or they're stuck to a person and in a particular person,
They're actually stuck to a place.
a place,
They're
okay.
Yeah, they're stuck to a place of their choosing, like either a place they died in, like a hospital or a prison or a battlefield, or a place they grew up in. Maybe they picked the place. They always pick the place. So they may choose to haunt the place that they grew up in, and because they love the house. So that's a good reason. It doesn't have to be a bad reason to stay behind. But often people stay behind because they're looking for forgiveness, or um, they're afraid to cross over. And I find that a lot of people who are very religious are usually the ones that stay behind, and they create their own hell on earth here in
Wow.
isolation.
What about like, so people will sometimes, like, my grandmother was very important to me. And so sometimes I'll, like, just think of her and and so some people will be like, "Oh, I feel this special person with me." Is that, or do they come visit or something, or can you what is that phenomenon?
Yeah, they do. So whenever we think of somebody just out of the blue, it's usually because they they're around us and they want to send us a sign. Um, my mom and dad have both passed, and they send me signs in various times. And usually I find that it's around birthdays, anniversaries, or holidays, or anniversaries like passing, anniversary of passing, or some other big event. And that's when people need to look for signs.
So what could their signs be doing for us? How was that? Is it just to let us know they're there, or is it a sign to be like, "Hey, take this direction. That's a better way to go than what you're thinking."
It could be that. It could be either or. Um, Usually they will appear to us in times when we need comfort. I know that sometimes when I get stressed and I'm doing a lot of stuff at work and I'm listening to a radio, one of the very few songs that were my mother's favorites will come on from like 40 years ago out of the blue. And I know that my mom is around. Um, and there's other ways. I mean, they will send us coins. And if you find a coin, when you're thinking of the person, take a look at the year. It may be connected to them, like their birth or passing year. Um, they may lead you to someone who looks like them. You may hear their name mentioned as you're out like in a store. Um, you may find things that remind you of them. I remember going into a store looking for a birthday card, and the first one I pulled up had a poodle on it, and that was my mother's favorite dog. And at the same time, um, Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac was playing on the music system in the CVS, and that's one of my mother's favorite songs. So that's not a coincidence that those two things happened at the exact same time.
So what does that mean to you whenever you have those two things or you have a couple of things happen? What do you do with that information, and what is it? Yeah.
It's really a comfort because I miss
Okay.
my mom,
Mhm.
and it's always it's always good to know they're around. Um, I will say that my partner says things out of the blue that my mother used to say, which blows my mind, because he channels her. Um, but I
That's
do the
funny.
same with his late partner. So
Oh goodness.
I've befriended his late partner in spirit, and
Wow.
I've learned a lot.
That might be helpful. It
Mhm.
might also be a little funny too. That could tell you little stories or whatnot. So you say that you're also a scientist, and
I
so you
am.
go over the scientific explanations as well.
I do. I'm a meteorologist, and for me, the science is really important. So I find that the paranormal is really based in the science of energy because if you think about being a living being, we have a lot of energy within us. Our thoughts are little electrical impulses of energy. We have cell splitting all the time. We have blood pumping all the time. And that's really energy. So what I have found that is that energy combines with our memories and our personality and the knowledge of this life we lived, and that becomes an energy entity or a soul, if you will. And every living thing, animal or person, has a soul. And then we choose to stay earthbound as a ghost, or we cross over as a spirit.
So we choose that. We choose the so I have this thing. There's in the spiritual community, there's a lot of whatever you attract,
Put out.
whatever you deserve or something, I guess is the
Oh,
kind of
okay.
thing. But like, so if bad things happen to you, it's because you're on the thinking bad things. That's because that's where your mind is at. So you attract those bad things that happen to you. uh, I don't like that kind of thinking, because then I think of, well, babies come into this world and horrific things happen to them and they
Mhm.
die. So what did they do? Like
Exactly. Yeah.
that's really awful, in my opinion.
No,
That's
no, I agree with
just
you.
thinking.
So I'm not sure about that, but I will tell you that as ghosts or spirits, they each of those entities um, draw on different emotional energies and physical energies. They draw on heat, light, water, and electricity, both of them, because they're energy beings. They're like a light bulb that needs energy, or they draw on emotional energies. Ghosts draw on negative emotional energies like fear, anxiety, depression, and anger.
Mhm.
And those things fuel a ghost to communicate with you. Otherwise, spirits who've crossed over draw on the love we share with them, faith and hope that we share with them too. That's what empowers them to come back to us.
Oh, okay, interesting. So explain that a little bit further. So they are drawn to, and now, is negative energy stronger than positive energy?
Nope. Um,
No.
they're pretty equal, but it really depends upon the entity. So earthbound ghosts, because they're comprised of negative emotional energy, it doesn't mean that they're negative people. It has no effect on their personality. It just means that because they were on Earth, I like your hell on Earth thing, idea, um, that they need that negative emotional energy. Um, and that's really what empowers them. If you think about going into a place that's haunted
Mhm.
and it's haunted, you're going to feel a little anxiety. So that anxiety is going to fuel that ghost. It's like plugging the ghost in to give them strength enough to make a noise, to move something, to touch you, to create a cold spot. And by the way, I also scientifically explain cold spots. I've I've not heard anybody explain them before, um, but I can give you the answer to what they are.
Okay.
Have you felt one before, by the way?
Yes, we used to play around because I'm very, I'm like, oh, it's haunted, show me. That's kind of more my attitude. I walk into a place and be like, move something then, show me that you're haunted. I'd like to see it. And so, but yeah, I've noticed things like that, or like suddenly a weird smell that doesn't belong there or something, or like felt something rub across my skin.
Wow. Okay. Well, that takes a lot of energy from the ghost or the spirit. So what I've come to figure out is that looking at science, that warm air is fast moving molecules, molecules. So in the tropics, the air is moving, the air molecules are moving super fast and colliding into each other. In the Arctic, they move very, very slow because cold air are slow moving air molecules. So what happens is whenever there's a ghost or a spirit trying to manifest, trying to come together, they draw on the energy of motion of air molecules. They take that energy of motion to get strong enough, and in doing so, they slow the motion down. So they cause a cold spot right where they are.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's my
That's
scientific explanation.
Well, I like that. I like that you think about it in such ways and not just, yeah. So that's really interesting.
And I see a cat. I don't know where the cats come from, but there
What
is
does
a
he look
cat.
like?
Um, he's black with white.
Mhm. Does he talk to you or something?
Not right now because I'm talking to you.
Okay. Well,
I'm
I'm
like,
wondering that because cats can't talk in this life that we know. So do they actually say things when you're
yeah, so they actually do. So they actually do repeat words they've heard, and that's how they communicate with me. Or they show me pictures of things. Um, there was last summer there was a scientific study that came out that said cats are much more uh, knowledge absorbing than we think they are. They pick up on a lot of words that we say. They pick up on, they of course know routine. They can identify people. They know when things are if we say them. Um, so, they're cats and dogs are very, very intelligent, more perceptive than we think they are. Did you have a cat?
Yeah, I did have a cat.
Okay.
Yeah. He was the most important cat that's ever been a cat.
It sounds like he was a kind of a soulmate to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super important.
Okay. Well, that's why I saw a cat. But he's kind of moving fast, so that's why he appears black. But he, um, anyway, he's to your left side.
Facing you?
Yes.
That's funny.
So yeah, so pets communicate much the same way that people do.
Okay.
They they'll show me things. They show me things. They repeat words. They know names. They will describe people on the other side to me. Um, there was one dog, one dog that described an older gentleman, two generations back to me, and he was wearing a red checkered shirt and jeans, and the dog kept showing me multiple images of this gentleman in different stages, and he was always wearing a red checkered shirt. And I just thought that's bizarre. So then he pointed me. This was during a live performance of some other medium, and I was sitting in the back. And at the at the intermission, I asked if somebody has a grandfather on the other side with a dog that liked red checkered shirts. And this this younger woman stood up and she said, "Oh my God, that's my grandfather because the only shirts he had in his closet ever are red checkered shirts."
That's funny.
Wondering who was with my dog.
Aw.
So pets are very observant.
Yeah, I believe that. I
Yeah.
believe that. Yeah. Yeah.
Since you're a cat mom, um, what my latest book is Pets in the Afterlife 4 Messages from Spirit Cats. And this will tell you how crazy it is. The messages can be this crazy. Um, there's a cat that I did a reading for named Buddy, and as I said, I do readings by email. I just get their picture and their name, and then any questions the pet parent may have. And I love telling this story because it's so amazing. So Buddy gave me a whole bunch of messages, and one thing that he did tell me was that I didn't even understand was a word, MALA, mala. I thought, I don't know what that word means. and he kept repeating it. And so I typed it in the email reading and I said, I have no idea what this means. You're going to think that I'm crazy. Um, but he keeps insisting that this is a special word to him or to you. So she wrote me back and she said to me, everything I understood about his other messages, but the word mala really stood out. She said, because there's only two living beings in this world that know what that word means to me. She said, me and Buddy. She said, every morning I open my bedroom door, I have Buddy come into my bedroom, and I sit and I do a meditation called the Mala meditation. And that just gave me chills.
That's really awesome. That's awesome. So what would be okay, so let's like what would be the point of an animal like, my cat coming back, like what's the message?
The message is one that love never dies and that they are always going to be connected to us and they'll always be waiting for us on the other side. So even though they're here for a short time in the physical, it doesn't mean they're gone. It means that the love that you share with him acts as a beacon. And the way I look at it is that we are all connected to each other as kind of a spider web of love. That's the way it is. And we can all find each other on the other side. And for those people who lost pets, I just got an email from somebody who said we're selling our house that our cat grew up in. I'm afraid our cat won't follow us in spirit. What can I do? And I told her that because your love is a beacon, they can find you anywhere, any place, anytime. I've had signs from my dogs when we were on vacation. I've had signs from my parents when we were on vacation, which were just crazy signs. But those are the kinds of things that I also write.
So all of this connection is really just to tell the people that are still here on Earth that they're loved and they're there.
Yes. And they don't want us to continue grieving for a long period of time. I speak to a lot of people who are very deep in grief, and sometimes people get so deep in grief that they can't even function. Um, I've also I've also received email from quite a few people who were suicidal after the passing of their pet. So I consulted two friends of mine who work with people in grief and loss, and I have special chapters in Pets 3 and 4 about how to do that, how to cope with that grief and that loss. Because frankly, it scares me that somebody is suicidal
Mhm.
after the passing of their pet. And I get that because pets are our best friends. Um, And there was an incident this past two summers ago where a man sent me an email, and he said that he was sitting with a loaded gun next to him,
Mm.
and he was taking drugs and drinking, and he was ready to kill himself because his his dog had passed and his wife had asked for a divorce. And I actually emailed him and I said, "Here's my phone number. Please, first of all, please call 911
Mhm.
or 988, the crisis line, and and then call 911 and get help." And he wrote me back and he said, "I did. They were nice, but I still want to do this." And I said, "Call me." And I never do that, but I called him and I talked to him, and I was able to read his dog on the other side, give him some direction, convinced him to walk to the fire station near his house, and he wrote me back the next day. I was, of course, uh, really just horrified, hoping he saved his life. Um, and he said he saw a woman walking a dog that looked exactly like his dog as he was on his way to the fire station, and he knew that was a sign that he needed to go get help. And when he got there, he said, police officer opened the door. Turned out they were both into music. They took him in. He got help, and now he's okay.
That's
But
good.
yeah, but it, Brittany was horrifying to me. You know,
Yeah.
waiting. First of all, I it makes you feel responsible for someone's life. Um, and I did what I could, of course, and I'm glad that it turned out all right. But for those people who lost pets, please know that your pets are on the other side. They're waiting for you, and they're still connected, and they'll always love you. They'll be wagging their little tails or meowing from the other side, waiting for you.
Flicking their little tails. That's what cats do. They
Mhm.
they flick them.
Our pets really are. They're really honored when we do something to pay tribute to them and keep their memories alive. And a song is a wonderful thing.
You are all over Facebook and oh, you're on Tumblr and YouTube. So what do you do on YouTube? Do you share these kinds of things on YouTube?
I do. I share my interviews and my conversations that I have with uh, anybody that wants to talk to me. um, and I do make occasionally I do make short videos when I go places. For instance, I'm about to publish my next book, my 11th book, The Ghosts of Ireland on a Medium's Vacation, and I've been posting little shorts of snippets of places that I visited in Ireland and where I encountered ghosts, so people can see them on YouTube and while they're reading the book.
Oh, that's super cool.
And all the links will be in the book so that if they're reading it on Kindle, they can immediately go to the video and see the 2-minute video where I show you the environment. So
I love that. Interactive. I love when you, yes, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. This has been a really cool conversation. Actually, I love being able to have these kinds of conversations. And I love that you bring science into it. And that really the whole message is just, you know what? I'm still here and I still love you.
that's it. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, this
Yeah.
has been a real pleasure talking to you. I mean, you have so much good energy about you.
Thank you.
You do. You just radiate positive emotional energy, and that's awesome.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've had a good time talking to you and getting to know you. When's your next book coming out?
Um, I'm hoping sometime later this month or maybe February.
Okay.
So
All
I'm doing
right.
the last round of edits, but the cover will have a picture that I took in a prison in Cork, Ireland, and it's now a museum. And as I was looking down a corridor that's glass walled off, there was a male ghost that was walking across the corridor, and I got a picture of him.
That's
But yeah,
cool. So it's a still photograph that's of the ghost on the front cover.
it will be, yeah, yep. But in most of my books, except for the pets books, most of my books have sketches of ghosts that I've seen,
Okay.
and there are some comparisons to actual infrared pictures or actual photographs of people that lived.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Nice. I love it. So, yes, if you have lost a pet, you can go check out Rob Gutro's books. I will have all the links in the description box below so that you can go. And he also has the Medium's Vacation series where you see ghosts on vacation.
I do. They, it's because I'm relaxed and they just talk to me. Everybody has a story, they want to share it. So that series is actually, if you like history and you like hauntings and hauntings that are not told over and over and over again, but personal hauntings that I experience, um, you'll get all of that history and hauntings in the same place in one book. Well,
Yeah.
three books. There are three in the
And
series.
three, yes, because each one is a series. And what the other, what Pets in the Afterlife, and then the Ghost and Spirits, and then the Medium on Vacation, and those are
Yes.
all series.
Yes, they're all series and they all have several books in them. So the Ghost and Spirit series talk about earthbound ghosts that I've encountered and spirits crossed over.
Where are you most active online?
Oh gosh. So my website that you mentioned, robgutro.com, I also do a weekly blog there, and I'm on Facebook, on Instagram. I just started Threads. I
Mm,
have, like I need another one to keep me busy.
right. I know.
LinkedIn and YouTube. So I'm all over the place like an epidemic.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today and letting us get to know you and sharing actually a beautiful concept of the afterlife and everything. I love it.
My pleasure. And say hi to your cat.
The Zarlequan Indieverse.